Hey, how's it going? Nice to meet you. Should I call you Thomas or do you
Tommy, everybody calls me Tommy.
Tommy? All right, nice to meet you. Thanks for taking the time to chat with
My
me.
pleasure. My pleasure.
And congratulations on Ride. I thought the movie was wonderful. Your performance was fantastic. So,
Thank you.
yeah.
Thanks for watching it. It's so nice to be able to have a shared conversation instead of a one-way conversation when it comes to that. So thanks for watching it.
Oh, of course. Of course. Seriously, I really enjoyed it. And yeah, I mean, I know you were once a rodeo star yourself in real life. And I was curious when you were approached about this movie, did you have any sort of reservations about or were you excited about like,
Of
oh,
course.
cool, rodeo movie, or were you like, oh, I don't know, kind of thing?
Yeah, you hit it. You hit it with the first one. When I
Yeah.
first read it, I was like, oh, um, wow. The last thing I want to be involved with is a production about the cowboy community that isn't legit. And Hollywood tends to um, make movies, westerns, modern day or period pieces that at least if you come from a cowboy background, you can spot all those weaknesses in those movies. You can tell who can ride and who can't ride and who can really
Right.
saddle a horse and who can't. And people that have been raised around livestock act and behave a certain way around horses and cows and bulls that people that haven't been raised don't understand. And it's rare that you can be a part of a production where the people that are involved understand the value of that authenticity. And of course, going into every movie, everybody wants to make a great movie. That's everybody's intention. But as casting goes and directors and producers and people that think they understand, and that's really the biggest curse when it comes to rural productions or westerns, if you will. People think they understand when they don't, and that's where you really get into the issues. My director, Jake Allen, who also wrote the piece and played my son, was really open to um, hearing from people like myself and Forey J. Smith, who plays Lloyd in The Great Yellowstone and is not only a phenomenal actor, but he's has been spent a life as a professional cowboy. He's a bareback rider and a bull rider, and has a ranch today and still cowboys every day. And surrounding himself, Jake surrounding himself with people like me and Forey, really gave him a leg up because we wouldn't allow those mistakes and those subtleties that weren't authentic to slip by. And there were times when it wasn't easy on everybody. And there were times when people would just be, oh, please, would you just stop with this? And, no, I wouldn't. I would say to somebody, hey, you don't hold the rope like that. That's not how you hold a lead rope. That's not how you saddle a horse. And at times, I think it could, be rendered as a pain in the ass. But I just couldn't allow somebody like my father to watch this movie and ridicule me for letting it go. So I had support with Forey, and of course Jake Allen really trusted us and wrapped his arms around us, and he held his own when he needed to when it came to plot points and story points. It wasn't like he just rolled over. He was a first time director, but had been around films and had produced other films and acted in a lot of movies, and was very open to uh, the suggestions that came from a loving place. And we just wanted to make the best movie we possibly could. And we gelled as a team really quickly. And there was a bond, a trust that formed. I mean, we only had 18 days to make this thing, and we had, just a handful of change to get it all done. And that was a big challenge as well. So, but it also ended up lending to the quality of movie. You know, I see a lot of $200 million movies that I think are terrible. And when people come together to make a movie like Ride and they're on that set, they're there because they want to be there.
Right.
And that really makes a difference. And I think it shows in our production.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And I know you started in this business at a very young age. I mean, did you ever think that you know, years later, decades later, you'd still be, I mean, it seems like you're super busy, you know, with all these Hollywood projects these days. I mean, what does that mean to you to still be, you know, working and going from here to there, all these different, you know, movies, TV shows at this
Well,
point?
I tell you, it's humbling. It's humbling.
Yeah.
Um, you know, I was a young, you know, I was 13 when I did ET, and I was 15 when I did The Outsiders. And you know, I had a career as a young boy that I never anticipated, and I was very grateful for. But I'm, you know, almost 58 now, and I have wrinkles and gray hair, and you know, the parts, it's just like the parts have changed. I haven't lost my passion. You know, I love acting so much. I love the relationships that I have created over the years. I get to travel all around the world. I'm up in
Yeah.
Montana right now working on a little film with a
Nice.
great group of people. And um, you know, the only thing that's really changed for me is really not giving a shit what other people think anymore. And I don't mean that from an egotistical place. You know, I stopped trying to please other people, and when I started raising the bar for myself and pleasing myself from a professional standpoint, um, it I became a better actor, and I became a better person. Uh, I had a lot more to offer other people, um, just by setting that example. So that happened with age. And I think my work is a lot better, a lot more grounded. But when I look back and see, you know, myself as a youngster, and it's kind of weird having your entire life documented. I mean, I started when I was, you know, 10 or 11 years old. And my father was a professional bull rider for 10 years, and then he became a stunt man. And I thought I was going to do stunts myself. And I, you know, sort of fell in, you know, pun intended, fell into this acting thing. And when it first began, you know, I never really intended on being a lifer. You know, I'd done probably 10 films before I did a movie called The Hitcher with Rutger Hauer and Jennifer Jason Leigh and Jeffrey DeMunn. And that was the experience that I walked away from knowing I wanted to do it the rest of my life. And working with professionals like those award-winning actors really um, taught me so much. Um, you know, I really went home after that experience and said to myself, okay, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. Up until then, I was just kind of, you know, going to work, making movies like, you know, Secret Admirer and Red Dawn, and thinking, okay, great. I'm going to fill my bank up and be able to get a faster horse and a better truck and get on down the road and get to the next rodeo. I didn't really think it would become a lifelong endeavor, but now it's something that I couldn't imagine not doing. You know, I mean, it's changed a lot. The business has changed a lot. Of course, times have changed a lot. Um, I'm an old school guy, so I clash a little bit with some of the um, newer approaches. There's a lot of agenda pushing now from Hollywood that I don't necessarily agree with. I don't think it needs to be in every single movie. And good storytelling has faded. You know, we've gotten better with effects, and these Marvel movies are fantastic, but we've lost something when it comes to good storytelling. And I think that's what the independent movie offers that the big blockbusters don't. Independents don't have the pressure and don't have suits breathing down their necks every single day, and you can actually come together as a group and do something that has value that maybe, you know, the bigger studios wouldn't take a risk on these days. And frankly, I prefer the independent movie over the big blockbuster anymore.
Me too. I'm not just saying that.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I'm with you. Oh, great. Yeah, and I know you once, you know, worked, you know, you were in The Outsiders, wonderful movie with Francis Ford Coppola. I know that was some time ago, but I was curious if you have any memories working with him. I'm such a fan of his. I've written film essays about him. So
An
if you,
amazing man. You know, the difference between people like Francis and Steven Spielberg compared to a lot of other directors that I've worked with. and what separates them from the rest. And I mean, they are the cream of the crop. You know, a lot of directors come from different backgrounds. You can come from a technical background. You could have been a DP, camera operator. You understand the technical aspect of filmmaking. Maybe you're an effects guy, and you don't really connect with the artistic side. You don't know how to communicate with the actors. You don't understand storytelling or writing very well. Well, the exact opposite also occurs. A lot of directors come from the creative side. They were directors in theater, they were writers. They spent a lot of time in dark rooms, penning out 100 pages and not communicating with other people. So they don't have really great communication skills. They don't understand the technical side at all. They don't know the difference between a 35 millimeter lens or a 200 millimeter lens. They don't understand how the lighting aspects can help tell the story, but they're really great with the artistic side. But when you get Francis or Steven, they understand both sides extremely well. They're great communicators. And that's what I loved about working with Francis. You know, Francis was of course our director, but he was more psychologist and father figure than he was really this imposing director. I was all of 15, so I didn't carry any baggage when it came to who he was. I hadn't seen The Godfather. I didn't know what Apocalypse Now was. You know, I was a kid from a ranch, and I'd seen a few movies, but these films weren't being played on TV, and I certainly didn't have access to them on my phone like all the kids have now. So I treated these men um, just as I would treat anybody else. I also didn't have the responsibility of a family or bills to pay. So I was having a really good time. And I think that was what they connected with inside of me. They understood that I was authentic at that age. I wasn't, you know, a trained Hollywood kid. I didn't have, you know, a momager, as they call somebody that's trying to push their kid into becoming a big star, which you see a lot of today.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
my father was a stuntman and a cowboy and was quick to put a boot to my butt if things got out of hand. And, you know, I was raised to respect people and treat them kind. And when it came to making movies, show up on time, be prepared, and make the others around you better. And that was the experience that I had. And being able to have my first two films directed by Spielberg and Coppola made it difficult. To be honest with you, those productions were the finest productions I had been a part of. I thought all directors were that way when I was a kid. I thought all my films were going to be handled the way that they handled their sets. And of course, nothing could be further from the truth. So imagine going from Spielberg to Coppola when you're 15 years old, pretty much downhill from there, brother. I was I was blessed to claw my way out of Hollywood as a child, because not a lot of people transition from being a child actor into being an adult actor. And a lot of people become jaded and bitter for many reasons. Hollywood is a tough place. As you've read and seen, it
Right.
can be a difficult, especially as a child. But I didn't have any negative experiences as a kid. My father was a tough guy. And, you know, when you ride bulls for 10 years for a living and then become a stuntman, nobody's going to come and mess with you as a kid on the set. So I had a good, uh, the protection was there. The understanding and the respect was there. And I had a good example from my father. So I'm really grateful with the way that, you know, my career has ended up. I mean, you know, I guess it's like the game of golf. You could go out and shoot a 60 and be mad that you didn't shoot a 59, you know, but that's the thing. There's never the perfect performance. There's never the perfect movie. You could always be better. And that's what has always kept me going.
Yep. Well said. Well, I can't wait to see your next project. I hope we can do it on the next one. And in the
Thank you.
meantime, congratulations on the ride. It was wonderful.
I really appreciate your time and thank you for letting me have this moment with you.
Oh, of course. Yeah, likewise. And yeah, nice to meet you. Thanks again.
You too. Talk to you soon.